complete opposite ends of the planet because it's freezing.
Yeah. Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes. So, tonight we have Godless Sewing and Jen's Corner with us.
Hey.
We'll probably have a couple more people popping in here in a little while.
So what's tonight's topic?
Well, today is Tartar Sauce Day, which by pure coincidence always occurs on the first Friday in Lent.
I was about to say, yeah, exactly.
Well, so when is the Easter long weekend?
I'm not sure when Easter is this year. I haven't looked it up yet.
You know, they call it something else. That's such a good, because maybe I'll get another Monday off, huh?
Well, I know how they determine Easter. And this is one of those, I swear I am not making this up.
April the 4th. Ah, so the Easter long weekend is over the weekend that includes the 1st of April.
Okay. But the Easter is always the first Sunday following the first full moon after the vernal equinox, as long as the full moon does not happen on a Sunday, in which case it's the following week.
Wow.
And I'm not making that up. That is actually how the Vatican calculates what day Easter will be each year.
Oh, wow.
So moon worship.
Well, it was because they were trying to Shanghai the pagan holiday, but they wanted to make sure they could tell who was celebrating the church-sponsored holiday and not the pagan holiday.
You know, the good old Romans.
And Phil's right. Every Friday is fish day in the Catholic Church and a few other religious things, and plus in the UK.
And
so it's Tartar Sauce Day.
Yesterday was Ash Wednesday. Yeah, because today's Thursday. So yesterday was Ash Wednesday.
Well, that's when I was in the Catholic Church in the early 70s. They were still phasing in the Vatican II. So it was like when I was 5 or 6 years old that it was no longer a sin to eat meat on a Friday. Up until that point, you could go to hell for a hot dog on a Friday.
Oh.
I was raised in a very oppressive regime then. Because even, my programming was so on point. Because even as an atheist, I still eat fish on Fridays. Still to this, it's one of those weird things. Especially, I went to the grocery store and I saw all the fish was on sale, and I'm like, oh, it's Lent. So I bought a bunch of fish.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hi, Jen.
Okie dokie.
All charged?
Well, it's up to 90%.
Awesome.
Oh, you didn't kill that cricket yet? Jeez.
He's fucking annoying.
Sam, that's Will's backup band.
Yeah. His house is infested with them, and he's just got himself a new mic that is incredibly good at picking up background noise.
And part of this, I'm not blaming Purple, I'm thanking him. Something went so wrong with my microphone, I had to hook up my actual good microphone, and it was working for some odd reason. So if my microphone hadn't have pooped out, we wouldn't be hearing crickets.
Yeah.
Hey, Will, I left you a little DM, but just to encapsulate, I was perfectly comfy with our discussion. I didn't think it got heated or anything like that.
Okay, good. I respect you.
I was just anxious to get in and make it clear to the chat audience that I believe in reparations. I was challenging the concept for discussion's sake, but I believe in reparations, and I just wanted them to realize that I'm not some kind of racist.
No, I know.
That I wasn't trying to put reparations down, but I was, trying to examine them.
We live in a super angry society right now. So I was just, because I'm going to get canceled. If I told my opinion, I would get canceled. Yeah. So I'd keep it to myself.
I agree with you, Jen, that direct payments would be very foolish. There's so many people who would absolutely squander the money within 24 hours. What good is it doing if we're just
it doesn't
find a way to make it structured so that it's really beneficial for people.
Yeah.
I don't know what that answer is, but that's where I'm at.
I think we had a consensus there that the money needs to be used to, rebuild communities, not necessarily for individual gains.
Yeah.
Well, there's people who absolutely want there to be individual payments.
Oh yeah. No, I just mean among the group we had discussing it there tonight.
But then there's so many questions to ask about it. Like, does somebody who was born in a year ago get reparations money?
Yeah, see, there's an element where it doesn't make sense.
Like I said, it's that's like a 9-hour conversation. You have to sit down with charts and maps, quite literally. Literally.
Would you make the decision based on how black someone looks? Because that person is going to get more discrimination than someone who's lighter skinned.
Because my son,
so they have a little chart with little grayscale things, and the closer you are to a particular color, the more money you get.
If you look at discrimination and behaviors of people that are projected on people of color from different countries, as I understand it, in Brazil, it is very clear that someone like Will, with his fairly light skin, would be way up on the social ladder, and somebody who's like really dark, like somebody who's from India, who's almost absolutely onyx black, it would be almost hated by everybody. And so that I'm not just pulling it out of my ass.
I've been quite a few places where people have treated me differently because they thought I was from all of those places you just named right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I always say, though, it depends on where you're from, depends on who you are, because I know
hi Maya,
I'm from the suburbs. I know a lot of people of color that are rich, and not relatively speaking, that come from money and generational. Their kids have money and blah blah blah. Like, they don't need reparations. And
I think we should
and I'm speaking for people and I am gatekeeping and speaking for people from the suburbs, but it's definitely a conversation to be had.
I think we should definitely have reparations, and that we should hold ourselves as a culture over time, having been responsible for slavery in this continent and that sort of thing. But I think it's also fair to ask the question: what about the people who are from Congo, who are from the Angola areas, who built the facilities where the slave trading was done, who went out and captured other black people in Africa and then sold them on the market?
Those tribes still exist. Those tribes still exist. They'll tell you that they did that too.
And there's a lot more sophistication than I'm uncomfortable calling them tribes, because that sounds like everybody's Aboriginal in a mud house. These people were building sophisticated buildings with bricks and levels and all kinds of stuff.
I recently watched a documentary with Joanne Lumley from Absolute Fabulous, and she goes down the Nile, and these people who they were openly saying, like, oh, our ancestors are the one who used to steal these people's ancestors. They called themselves a tribe.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, our tribe went and took their tribe. So I'm not saying that as a derogatory term. These are what they call themselves.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just commenting.
And the only reason I say that is because it's within recent memory. It's something that I've recently watched, where somebody in the modern era, like 2018, was like, no, we're,
PBS always runs pretty good documentaries and stuff during Black History Month. And lately, David or Henry Louis Gates has had quite a few different shows that he's put together or been part of.
I quote,
and that man is just brilliant. I love him to death.
He wrote a book with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and I have it somewhere. I quote it all the time, the time. Especially,
he's doing this one that really, really was an eye opener to me. I had always known that well, I shouldn't say always. In my adulthood, I've learned that the black cultures of let's say it'd be like middle or central, maybe more to the east coast of the African continent, were unfucking believably advanced. and building these unbelievable structures that make the pyramids look like, oh, gee, you made a four-sided thing. That's nice. That's nice.
And people still can't figure out how they were built.
Oh yeah, and that all these cultures have disappeared. That they were Christian before Christians were Christians, or Christians in the Middle East were Christian. And it's just so widely ignored in America to learn this kind of history.
But history in general, we're only taught like 5% of history from a specific island. If you in America, we're taught English history up until the point where our country existed.
Yeah. I just think that if more white people were exposed to really serious teaching about African heritage and cultures and civilization, that they would realize that just because you're white doesn't mean you invented all this shit.
Oh, I smoke geek out and type in Africa on YouTube and just get lost. And I do all the time.
Okay, well, we got 3 gens. We're outnumbered.
Uh-oh. The Gen stream again.
Yep.
How you doing, Genesis?
Hi, Jens.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
So I just got off of Neil's stream. I was going to start my stream, but I have no one to be in my stream, so I'm not going to do my stream until after this stream to see if I can steal any of you people.
Oh, it's like an all-nighter, huh?
Yeah. I'm not going to be able to because when I get off here, I'll have to sleep because I have to drive extra and home tomorrow.
I know I wake up every Friday and regret, so I have to get at least 4 hours of sleep.
I would assume you wouldn't want to be on the after party because, like, you're the one hosting the show. If you end it, that means you gotta leave.
Well, quite honestly, I have been online constantly for the last 5.5 hours already. I started with the shills at 7 o'clock.
And then you're on our stream.
Yeah.
I've also been in a lot of streams today. I was on the bin.
Purple, I'm on the shows tomorrow.
Hey, Doug. Oh.
Hello.
Hey, Doc.
Cool.
They finally decided I was worthy to be on their show.
Oh no, I dropped my cheese. Oh, I know, I found that.
Well, yeah, you had been on with the Uncalled For before, so I was kind of surprised that they had you on the show before.
Yeah, nope.
Okay.
Which one is Shill? That's not movie night, is it?
No. It's the I network, EIE network.
Okay. So I started watching on Saturday night. I started watching because of you guys.
But also known as Dick.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I got to mute here for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Dick is the other kind of Canadian. He's the, oh, sorry, gonna have to kick your ass now.
Yeah.
I play hockey. Canadians are not as nice as you think they are.
But that's hockey. That's different.
That's the one thing I love about hockey is that you can legally beat somebody up with skates on.
I had this really weird experience at a hockey match. It has nothing to do with hockey. But I had just by chance, a couple of hours before the puck drop, gotten free tickets to a game of Wisconsin Badgers against Colorado, whatever their team name is. And in those days, that particular time, it was
the Tigers,
Colorado College, the 70s. The Badgers were just absolutely kick ass in hockey. Nobody was going to beat them for anything. They were just the top, and they still are. They're always very, very good. But so, anyways, I was excited. I get to go to this college level hockey match, and that's pretty cool. And so I go to the Dane County Coliseum, which was like 60,000 people, and it was packed. It was just packed for a college game. It's amazing. and I happen to be just sitting there looking across at the upper mezzanine, the nosebleed seats, and the people are like what this big when you're looking at that distance, and who do I spot but my brother? It was like one of those Hollywood things where the whole world focuses down into one spot.
Oh, that's funny
for the audience to see, and there he was, my brother. What the fuck? What? How do you know it?
I'm getting audio
really
from both.
To run into him.
Oh, there we go. Oh, hi everybody. Sorry, I'm in 2 different streams right now, so if you can hear me and then I'm really like intrusive, sorry. I'm jumping in right now. Hi.
It's all right. We're hearing you fine.
Go ahead, Jenny.
I can't read that. It's too small. Who am I?
What can you read?
Ragabash Dabbler.
You can call me Rags.
What a friend.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry. Hi, I'm Jenny Morgan.
Hi, Jenny.
How's it going?
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Rags. I never really got into hockey. I've recently got into American football.
Oh, really?
Started getting into that a couple of years ago. Enjoying it, really. It's quite technical. But there just seems to be a million players. There's more players than there is crowd.
Oh, in American football.
Well, with COVID, yes.
I started playing hockey to stay skinny, and then it was just fun to get in fistfights with 45-year-old cishet white guys. Hockey is awesome. Hockey is awesome.
It is. I love women's hockey too. They kick butt just as hard as the men.
With COVID, like all the wannabe old guy leagues are all shut down because of COVID. So this is the first year in a year or two that I'm not doing it. I'm out of shape this year because I didn't work out last year. So I would have been the one getting beat up this year. So it'll be good.
Yeah, it's strange watching UK football without the crowd. I mean, they do put a crowd sort of background in that they turn up when they're going near the goal. They'll turn the sound up and turn it down, and it's not the same though as seeing the crowd.
I'd like to hear your opinion as a foreigner who likes American football, and I take it you probably like rugby as well.
Oh yeah.
How do you compare them?
Well, one's a pillar fight with 200 million players, and the other one's just punching each other below the belt.
I was about to say I watched hockey. What was it? Whenever Jeff had it on, I put it on the TV here. I forgot they beat the crap out of each other. In American football, like you're fully it hurts. I'm not saying that. And there are people like Earl Campbell who can't walk. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, get beat the hell up in rugby.
Well, before stroke, before I had the stroke, I played rugby a lot for my local team. And yeah, they're dirty. They'll grab you by the nuts and give it a good squeeze. But you just crack on. With football, if they blow on you hard, you're down holding your legs for an hour and waiting for someone to do it. That's it. It's more of an actor's sport, football or soccer, as you guys call it. With rugby,
I had somebody holding my legs for an hour. I was
Soccer I can care less about. Rugby is impressive.
They're pretty floppy in soccer. You blow near, you go, and they'll fall on the ground in front of a ref.
Oh, that's it.
They're fakers.
Stop crying.
Sometimes it's hard to watch because, like, I watch hockey and someone will be, they'll put their eyeball back in place.
Have you seen that one clip of women's soccer when someone's knee dislocated and they were like slapping it, trying to get back into place just because like they wanted to continue, and then it's contrasted by like a guy who gets touched in the ear and like starts freaking out.
That's what I'm saying. They freak out.
Women's soccer versus men's soccer. I think women's soccer is like better. My niece is a soccer player. She's doing pretty good in her junior league.
There is an element of the drama to it, right? Though, like the flopping, like if you can execute it well and actually influence the game, versus if it just becomes like soap opera pro wrestling flopping, where it's like we all know you're not hurt, man. Like,
Oh, that's
and then
right.
he jumps up 15 seconds later and like runs down the field at a full sprint. You're
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Okay, cool.
I'm okay with pro wrestling. At least we know they're faking it, you know.
But also there's been some proper challenges in football that seriously injured players, and they've never played the same since. They used to, you know, they were Paul Gascoigne was one. He was world class, and he had a serious tackle put on him, which basically shattered his knee and all sorts. And he never played even though his knee was healed and went back to normal. He would never be as brave in these tackles as you know. It affected him psychologically, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when you're dealing with the connective tissue, especially around something like the knee, like there is a very real consideration of it. Just like it doesn't heal the way that other soft tissues in the body heals. It's like stretching a piece of duct tape. It's never going to be quite as restrictive as it was. So
yeah, it's always like that around joints, shoulders and elbows and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
My mom used to be head nurse of an emergency department in Milwaukee, and every year in Milwaukee there was this tournament of rugby teams that came in from just all over the country, and it was like for a 5-6 day tournament, and they just beat the crap out of each other, and the ER was filled nonstop while this tournament was on with guys with broken legs and broken faces.
Part of the fun. That's part of the fun when you punch your butt in the ER. Like, I'll get you next year. I'll get you next. I miss going to hockey games, but I don't think sports in America in general will ever be the same ever again. The rules are going to change, at least for a while. So I probably won't be going to a game for a while.
What, because of the virus?
Let's just say when I watch hockey, how come California is the only place where they really don't have people in the stands? They're not.
At the time California was having such a horrible time with your numbers going through the roof.
Yeah, we're not playing. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not going to be normal here for a while at all.
Oh, okay.
Like, baseball season's coming back. You know, I haven't not going to the stadium this year. I guarantee you. And I've gone every year up until last year.
Nerdy, what?
Where do you live where tartar sauce is illegal, and also why?
Love nerdy. Is that one of those laws from the 1600s that are still around?
You know what laws I hate that are like antiquated and still exist in like high prevalence are Bible Belt laws.
Yep.
Like blue counties where you
can't buy alcohol before 12 p.m. or 12 p.m. on a Sunday in Florida.
It was only 2 years ago in Minnesota that liquor stores could be opened on Sundays at all.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You'll be like,
that's still weird to me.
You'll be like in a grocery store, like buying some beer for the day. Can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Sorry for cutting you off, by the way.
That's okay. In some states, I understand they call them their liquor stores package stores, and that's because everything is required to be in a package when it goes out the door.
Yep.
So you can't read the label or see that it's alcohol or something. It's so silly. And then that goes through if you're drinking it too. It's got to stay in the package.
Oh wow.
Yeah, if you have alcohol in public, you need to put it in like a brown paper bag or something. I don't know why.
Genesis, where you live, you guys don't have Vegas laws where you can like walk around the street with booze in certain areas?
Oh, fuck no. And like during St. Patrick's Day, you can't just walk around with a beer. I mean, I've done it right? Like I was walking home from welding school one day and I just had a beer with me and I was like drinking on my way home because it's a 3-mile walk, right? But yeah.
No, it's strange to me because in Nevada, in certain places, you can walk around full cup, you know, because they encourage drinking, you know.
Like also in Nevada though, like there's so many areas where like they can't be surveillanced because there's just nothing around and nobody who would care enough to like go check. So I want to live in the desert of Nevada, just like in fuck all nowhere.
There's a lot of unincorporated places where people move out to the desert. There's a lot of desert castles out there. You can do it. People do it.
Law is very different in a small town. I'm living in a town of 900, and we get away with shit that you could never get away with in the city. I drive without my seatbelt all the time. You know, when I'm in town, people drive around ATVs and snowmobiles and what are those other things called? Golf carts and stuff. Even riding mowers on the street.
Yeah.
It's just driving to the gas station.
In the town I was in Upper Michigan, that was real common too. Yeah. And that was because a good percentage of them had lost their license from being drunk driving too often.
So have you guys ever heard of Slab City?
Yeah, I've heard of Slab City.
It's out in the middle of the California desert, and it's an old Marine base. And people just kind of took it over, and they have no laws, but they live there. But, you know, people do it all the time out here. They just move out to the middle of the desert in unincorporated areas.
That's interesting.
Well, I remember going to Vegas in the 90s and learned that you can basically eat and drink for free out there.
Oh, if you're gambling, they'll give you anything you want.
Yeah, if you're on them 1 cent, even on them 1 cent slot machines, you'll get waitress service for all the booze you can drink, and after a while, they'll give you a meal voucher.
So pre-COVID, I was a degenerate gambler, and you would laugh if you saw how many mailers I get every day. Every day, I just get stacks of like, please come back. What did we do wrong? Why are you mad at us? Like, it's bad. They're begging me to come back to Vegas. Oh yeah. Every casino I stayed at, they're all, anywhere I ever showed my ID, they're begging me to come back. And they're like, free buffet, free Frank Sinatra show, which I've seen 15 times.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name. There was a stand-up comedian. He was bigger than John Candy. And he was saying that, that was his thing of going to Las Vegas. It's like, you've got slot machines and a free buffet. We'll see who's going to come out ahead in this one.
Was that Louis? I can't remember his last
Louis
name.
Anderson, I think you're thinking of. But no, I don't think that was his. But, he was in that same group that they came out at that same time in the 80s.
I will say I won't go back to my degenerate gambling habits. But moments like this, I do miss the buffets or the greasy spoon restaurants out in the middle of the desert.
I don't have
I want greasy food.
I don't have a gambling addiction, but I gamble a lot. Like, what classifies as an addiction?
I would go every weekend, and I wouldn't be mad if I dropped $1,000.
Addiction is usually characterized as a behavior that interferes with your normal day-to-day life process and has the effect of basically overtaking your life with the addiction.
Yeah, I haven't spent more than like $50. I go to the horse track. I know that's kind of controversial. But like, yeah, I bet at the horse track. And like, I'll never spend more than $50, but I'll go like, not once a week, but like once every few weeks. I won $73 the last time I went, though, so that's pretty fucking good.
There you go.
I must admit that I'm addicted to Powerball, and Mega Millions tickets. I buy one every week. That's $2.
Hey, you never
$2
know.
$2 is kind of a lot of money sometimes when you're on Social Security.
I go to the casino from time to time. When I was up in Michigan, they made it too convenient because my medical clinic was out on the Indian reservation, and a half an hour from anything else, but the casino was right across the street from it. So a lot of times I stopped in there after my doctor's appointments.
I've never been in a casino.
Really?
I'd like to go. I'd like to go sometime.
You've never been to one.
When I was younger, we used to do rides, like motorcycle rides to casinos. It was fun.
I also like the numbers game called Go for Five. You pick 5 numbers, and it's just like Powerball, except it's smaller. Because the odds are so much better. They're still terrible, but they're so much less terrible.
Have you ever heard of Cashman? It's a game. Now they have a game on your phone. It's called Cashman. I won $8,000 on a slot machine. It was a cash. Yes, it was a Cashman. I just happened to sit down. I got lucky. I was there for a minute or two, but I got lucky.
I'd say
that was. I've actually won more than that, but you got to spend money to make money. It's one of those.
Well, this Go for 5 I like because the odds are better. And you can the ticket's half the price of the earlier stuff, so it's only $1. And you can. I've seen the pots go up to 1.1, 1.23 million. Of course, you only walk away with half or a little less than half, but still, that would $500,000 in my life right now would pretty much set me up till I'm dead.
I mean, honestly, I've played the Powerball before, but I've never bought a ticket. People have bought one for me. I don't really get it.
It's the anticipation, that somebody does win. I mean, we all know that's absolutely true.
Somebody wins, but it's so rare of a chance that you'll be the one.
But they had that same chance and they won.
That's the lure.
That's
right
the
there,
lure.
what you're seeing right there. That's what I'm telling myself in the car as I'm driving down to Vegas. I'm telling myself that same speech, like somebody's got to win. I hope it's me.
And then you start looking if you want to investigate it and stuff. I did in the beginning when it came out. Some people have their numbers that they always pick every week, and they have these special numbers for special reasons, and other people just do the random quick pick. Just as many win either way. It doesn't matter how you pick the numbers.
I don't want to sound too braggy because I've lost, and I've lost more than I've won. That's why I say degenerate gambler. Like, I don't want to sound like I have a system or I'm numbers or something. It's just I live close and it's a fun place to go. I would go there, like I said, and just go to the buffet and see a show half the time. It was just a good place to escape from LA.
I guess my whole... Oh, go ahead.
No, please.
I was just going to say, I guess my whole thing is with the Powerball or the lottery or slot machines or anything like that. I don't like that. I like safe bets. I count cards when I play blackjack. And I'll when I bet at the horse track, right? I'm studying the horses and seeing what they do before I make a decision.
As long as people are aware that the house always wins, and where there's gambling sports, there's always corruption.
Absolutely.
I think the only thing is snail racing. There's probably no corruption in that.
But those cockroaches,
everything's corrupted.
Well, cockfighting is another one.
No, cockroaches.
Yeah.
So at my job out in the middle of nowhere, there was it sits on 65 acres. The property next to us is a horse farm. in front of them was a property that was probably 15 acres, and they built this giant stadium. And we were always wondering, like, what's going on? They would have cockfighting, and one day, like 4 helicopters and like, you know, it's LA, so like I'm not kidding when I said 80 cop cars showed up and they raided the place.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they should.
They were not playing that day. They were not. But
Well,
you know,
they fit their feet with metal razor talons, don't they, to fight with?
I'll
And
tell you,
things like that.
it's like,
No, it's not like razor talons. It's more like they just put switchblades,
Yeah,
or not
basically,
switchblades,
yeah.
razor blades from like razors and shit. Like they'll just put that on. You know, they have roosters have something called a spur.
Yeah.
It's like a back talon. They'll just put a razor blade on that and have them kill each other. It's fucking horrible.
You know, the roosters don't need razor blades to do that.
They don't, but it makes it bloodier. So it's like,
yeah, my sister kept chickens. Roosters are bastards.
Well, as long as you're eating them,
They'll come after you.
afterwards,
Chickens, for that matter, though.
No, the chickens I could pick up and carry around. The rooster would chase you around the yard.
He just wanted your attention.
no, they're evil.
No.
They're not scared of humans. They're like city squirrels. They
Yeah.
are not scared of humans.
They are just so grossly territorial, and he was too much of an idiot to realize that I was putting food in his trough.
Yeah, that's an idiot.
It's just stag turkeys are the same. They're big old stags. We call them. Where I'm from in the UK is Norfolk, which is the home of Bernard Matthews turkeys. And there's a lot of turkey farms around here, and they obviously deal a lot in stags rather than hens.
What about ducks? What do you guys think of? I have a hatred for ducks.
well, we have duck farms as well, but mainly turkeys, and they grow these for meat only. These wouldn't fit in an oven, in a conventional oven. They're mashed up and used for turkey burgers and things like that. But some of them, they grow to about 40 kilograms. They stand They stand about 5 foot tall. Some of them.
Holy fuck!
They are enormous. They call them grain makers.
That sounds like an ostrich.
Basically, yeah.
40 kilos, really?
Between 30 and 40 kilos they'll grow on to, sometimes bigger. But they're going to be mashed up, you see. I'm made into burgers and stuff like that. But they'll never fit in an oven. And because the meat is it's dry anyway, but a bird that old, they grow them for about 35 weeks, where a Christmas bird will grow for 16, 17 weeks from a chick. They grow quite quick. I mean, it's the food they give them, of course. But yeah, these grade makers, they're the white turkeys. They grow them fat. Fat they are, and they are heavy. And they'll kill you. If you get in a shed with 10,000 of them, they'll kill you. They're vicious.
Damn.
Don't forget, a turkey is part of the vulture family.
True.
I agree with Sloth Girl.
Oh yeah, sure. With that head.
Geese are evil to agree with Sloth Girl.
So there were wild turkeys in the last place I lived, and they would like just stalk around the backyard. And I was always like not okay going back there. My dog, Kaya, always wanted to chase him, and I'm like, fuck, if he does that, like, I don't know, man. Turkeys are fucked. The wild ones look crazy. They're always like bobbing and turning their heads.
I think the wild turkeys are just stunningly beautiful.
They are. They're not.
Some of them are. Some of them are, but the Floridian ones are like not as pretty.
Well, they do. As I say, they are vultures. At the end of the day, they're part of that family of birds. And the wild turkey is obviously a lot thinner because they're not fed. fed for food. And I know you have turkey seasons over there. We have pheasant seasons here. More game birds, where turkey are grown in sheds here, which is
Them birds got game.
game birds. Yeah.
We have good old USDA turkeys that are so fat they can't even walk on their own legs.
Yeah.
So you reckon turkeys will eventually evolve to have no eggs and they'll just sit on the ground?
Well, you don't even want to know what we do to chickens here in California. You don't even want to know. In cows,
I don't want to know what you perverts do to chickens in California.
Well, when I get off of probation, I'll let you know. When that case clears up, I'll tell you all about it.
There is a law in Minnesota that it is illegal to sexually molest a rooster.
Because
Why it
someone
specifies
But not a
rooster
hen?
instead of just saying any animal, I don't know, but
Yeah,
why
that's oddly
particularly a
specific.
rooster? I mean,
yeah, so somebody was caught doing this and made them pass a law about it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's like an Urban Dictionary term, flutterfuck, which is to fuck a chicken.
Yeah.
This is a
a
Florida.
rooster. I mean,
This
roosters
is
are
a
dangerous
Florida
bucks
turkey.
that will attack people. What was it? It was the thrill of the chase for them or something, was it?
Well,
Purple, I'm trying to share something.
or maybe that was trying to prove his dominance over it.
So this is a Florida turkey, and they look crazy. They move just like Well, I mean, they are dinosaurs, but like like
looks like a movie
non-avian,
turkey.
non-avian dinosaurs. They're fucking weird, and they live in the swamp.
See, that would be a small town turkey up in this
So
neck
are
of the
they
woods.
tasty? Do they taste
Google
good?
Google
I
a grade
don't
maker
eat wild
turkey.
turkey. I don't know anyone who eats wild turkey in Florida.
I bet I
I
can
know a
find
lot of
someone
people who drink wild turkey.
I mean, probably okay. Here's what I'll say: in the south of Florida, they're crazy as fuck. They'll do
Okay.
anything. So probably like they would fucking eat wild turkey. Like,
Fucking eats a wild turkey. Yep.
so I live in a pretty I would say normal part of Florida. If there is a normal, like there's three normals. There's here,
I was gonna say.
Orlando, and Miami. So someone probably has eaten wild turkey.
Google grade maker turkey.
I've eaten concrete
The
because
white
of
one.
wild turkey. Actually, wild turkey taught me lessons when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Taught me how to respect alcohol.
Right? The first time you picked up a bottle and didn't know that it said 101 on the top.
Absolutely. I had to learn that lesson a few times.
Mm-hmm.
What does 101 mean?
So, Wild Turkey is a brand of bourbon whiskey, and it comes in a varying level of proofs. And so, where most across the bar sales of alcohol is about 80 proof, so about 40% alcohol, and you have that mixed into a drink or you take it as a shot. Wild Turkey 101 is a very different alcohol, and they have varying proofs going up. But the first time you accidentally grab the burgundy label as opposed to the scarlet label, and you grab something that's stronger than you know what it is by about 20%, you have a really bad night, or maybe a really good night. It could be a really good night. I'm not. It could be, but for most people, it involves getting way too drunk, way too fast, not understanding what's happening until they're like 2 hours from actually understanding how drunk they actually are, and either having a really graphic physical display of that, or a night that they are very happy they can't remember. It's gonna be one of those two things. But yeah, so essentially just grabbing alcohol that's way stronger than you meant.
Yeah, it's basically getting double shots instead of singles.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, you guys think your turkeys are bad? Imagine coming face to we do in Australia, coming to face with the fucking ibis.
Oh,
Okay, I watched a few.
yeah. In Australia, that is the land time forgot. Like, you have actual monsters. So,
I think everything a seagull does, but in a bird that's about 7 times its weight.
yeah.
And they've got no fear of humans at all. They will come up to you if you're sitting at the beach having a picnic and just steal your fucking food. And you're not going to argue with them because they're fucking dangerous. These guys, and they'll eat out the bins. We call them bin chickens. They're fucking gross. I shared a picture if anyone was interested. The Australian ibis is a horrible fucking bird.
What the fuck is up with Australian birds? What the fuck is up with Australian birds? You have magpies, you have ibises.
Magpies are just a part of it, like a crow and a blue
Do you
jay
want
and
to know what
stuff.
an ibis is in Florida? An ibis in Florida is a crescent-beaked, like pretty chill bird.
No,
Yeah.
I saw one murderous
They're crescent
snake
beaked in Australia
outside of
too.
my
They're
house.
just fucking enormous.
What's
There you
that
go.
one bird that they say is
That's the
absolutely
Australian ibis.
It's the same fucking bird. It's the same fucking bird we have in Florida.
How big are yours though?
It's about the same size.
And yours aren't assholes because ours are.
No,
Ours are pretty chill because they eat all the bugs in your lawn. So if you have some
No.
pesky
Ibises in
termites-
Australia have decided that they want what humans have, and they're gonna fucking take it.
So
But when I
if they
lived
live
in Florida, I
noticed
saw
this.
an ibis pick up a snake out of the water and straight murder it and then eat it. And I was like, oh, okay, never mind. You're not getting near my dog. My dog weighs 12 pounds. Like, nope.
Yeah, the
I will
ibis.
say this. I will say this: the ibises that live in theme parks make really good like cleanup because people who just leave food lying around, the ibis will eat. But like they don't steal food in Florida. I don't know why. Maybe they're just not. Like I always say, Florida is just Australia on easy mode.
Australia's pretty laid back, but these guys are cunts.
Yeah, the ibis even have a theme song. I just posted the link in the
Yeah.
side chat.
I've posted that so many times on Twitter because it's such a good song.
Jen,
Well,
what's that one bird? I think it's in Florida. It's just a very. It looks like a Muppet. It looks like an actual live Muppet. With this, it's got this huge beak with a little hook on the end of it. They're really large, and they say that they will come after
I'm
you.
just
and they
gonna
will
search
kill you.
Muppet bird and see what you're talking about. I think
They
I
will
know,
absolutely kill you.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to think.
Emu?
You know, every time you
Sorry,
You're
Rob.
not talking about a shoebill stork, are you?
It might
Oh,
be.
a potu, a podu bird. Hold on, let me pull up an image.
Well, I think them Australian ibises are just getting involved with every other creature in Australia that is just out to kill you. Either on land or in the water. Look at them blue ring octopuses. They're no bigger than a snail, and they ain't near you, and you won't make it back to shore. You're dead.
Oh yeah.
Well,
They're beautiful.
Australia is the only nation to have lost a war to a flock of birds. Look up the Emu War. This actually happened.
ouch. Ouch.
Yeah,
You gotta
the
explain that one.
Australians expended something like 50,000 rounds of ammunition to kill 2,000 birds.
What kind of birds and why would they have?
So,
The
is this the
emus,
bird you're
because they were
talking
being a
about?
menace to the farmers.
No, that's not. Although that is certainly a goofy.
That's
looking
certainly
bird.
a weird looking bird, though.
Hey,
Uh,
don't you guys just look like that after a night
No.
of taking mushrooms?
These
Don't
things apparently stand like 4 or 5 feet tall. Their bill is massive. I mean, just very large. And
Are you
heavyweight
talking about a
looking.
blue herring? I mean,
No,
it doesn't
I
look
know
like
what
a
herons are.
muppet.
It's not a stork unless they just name it that way because it's got longer legs.
Do you know what we have here? We have blue jays, and they are the most fearless, angry, evil birds on planet. They'll fight hawks. They will take on. They are not scared of anything.
Oh, yeah, the male
Honestly.
blue jays are also fiercely territorial. They'll try to
Oh.
chase anything out.
I've seen a blue jay take on a hawk before. They are no joke.
Where I lived in Minneapolis before, there was a nest on one block, and they actually put up warning signs telling pedestrians to use the other side of the street because the birds were attacking people.
Because
I'll be right-
blue
I'll be
jays
right-
are insane. Because
I'll
blue
be
jays
right
are
back.
insane.
Well, there's a lot of pelicans in Florida, isn't there? Especially on that Gulf Coast.
Do you guys
yeah.
have a lot of seagulls? Because our seagulls are kind of like bin chickens, but if you swing at it, they'll at least go away, but they'll
Yeah.
come at you.
Sky rats.
If you get in your defensive stance, they'll back off. He's gonna show dominance.
Yeah, no, seagulls were one of those things that, like, I lived in Florida for a while, and they were definitely one of those things where, like, if there were a couple of them around, it wasn't a big deal, but if there were 40 of them around, you're like, this is my perimeter, and I'm going to march my perimeter. Like, I will face outward in a dominant pose. Stay away from my perimeter.
I will walk away.
What
because
is
I'm
that?
walk away
What
in a dominant
Pixar
pose.
monstrosity am I looking at?
Okay, that is a cassowary.
Yeah,
That
they're
is the second heaviest
evil.
bird in the world. The ostrich is the only bird that's heavier. It's shorter than both the ostrich and the emu, and they are aggressive. They will hunt in packs, and those feet on them are larger than a human hand.
They'll kill you.
That's a
Yeah.
They
Batman
can
villain.
kill you with a kick. They have been known
Yay.
to kill domesticated dogs and people.
Yay. And
Talking
you,
about cassowaries?
so why can't you have
Cassowary.
guns? Why can't you have guns in Australia?
Fortunately, they
really an
basically
American
only live in they only live in like northern Queensland and parts of the Northern Territory, but they are a bastard.
I will be seeing that face in my nightmares this evening.
Yeah.
I feel
It's
like when I
absolutely
flew
terrifying.
into Queensland, they should have warned me that I could have encountered that.
Yeah.
Like, that should have been hanging up at every post office and bus stop. Like, look out for this guy.
And in the picture, it's just chilling on the beach.
Right.
It's literally chilling
Right.
on the beach,
Yeah,
walking.
gloating over his most recent murder.
The sloth girl was mentioning the frog mouth.
Oh wow!
No, that's just a knot on a tree that grew a reptilian mouth. What is
Yeah.
that?
That looks like a gargoyle.
Bird.
Frog mouths are cute.
The
They just
other
look
one,
weird.
it looks mad as hell.
I need to be.
It's the eyebrows that do it. It's the eyebrows that make it look angry.
Hey, there's
Like
nothing wrong with
comparison,
being
people get
eyebrows,
afraid of
right?
emus like they do with ostriches, but emus are actually quite docile. If you don't actually go aggressive towards them, they go away. So
as-
cassowaries have been known, especially if they're breeding, they will defend their nests to the death. And that's usually to the death of the person going anywhere near the fucking nest. There have been cases of people being killed by them.
And eyebrows
Yeah.
are aggressive. Just look at mine. These are
Right.
attack eyebrows.
Yeah, I saw a video of a guy just walking down the beach in Australia, and this cassowary charges out of the bush after him.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, they will.
So recently, someone posted a video on Twitter. There was a spider on their car, and I think it was a magpie came and swooped and ate the thing. They were like,
Yeah.
"This is the most Australia picture ever." It was like literally like tarantula, like full. My hands are not tiny either. They were huge,
That was a big huntsman.
So I remember for a school trip we had to go camping, and on the final day we had to each stay up for a portion of a night to keep one fire going all night. And on my shift, a wolf spider this big, my hands are tiny, so like a wolf spider this big fucking was on my side, and I went to go grab it, and because I felt something there, I went to go touch what was on my side. It grabbed me. I looked at it, and I just threw it in the fire because I was like, "Fuck no, not dealing with this shit."
But was it like one of those like
Oh.
like one of those those nervous movements where you just you're all
Oh yeah, no,
fight-
it was like
yeah, exactly.
it was like fuck that.
I adore spiders.
But
I
when you
love
get
'em.
You know when you get super scared or like your fear sense is triggered in like such a sudden way that you become hyper aware of like everything and get like a photographic memory of what scared you, right?
Yeah.
That's like me of a spider, and that's how I know exactly how large it was.
Kookaburras.
Problem is, kookaburras are fucking pests.
Are they?
They cause
Yeah.
trouble.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
listen.
pests. They've moved into areas in Australia where they weren't before. They will aggressively try to push other birds out of their nests and that, and destroy the eggs and stuff. Yeah, they're a pain in the ass.
Oh wow.
And because they're from Australia, they're no doubt poisonous. Everything in Australia is poisonous. Even the people are poisonous.
What evolutionary pressures exist in Australia that makes everything want to kill each other?
Okay, so I can kind of answer that. Because they broke off, they evolved on their everything evolved, separately than everything else was considered mainland Earth. So that's why Australia has all these weird bright colored species, because they evolved on their own away from, their source.
Like,
I mean, yeah, I know that's why like placental mammals.
Non-scientific stoner answer.
I know that's why like placental mammals don't exist naturally in Australia. As dingoes were like brought over. So like I understand that like like there were certain evolutionary pressures of living on an island, but what made everything want to kill everything? Like even kangaroos, which look harmless from a distance, have like massive claws and are beefy as hell. They're like super strong. So it's
gym beefy. They're like gym beefy, like that scary guy in prison beefy.
So it's like, and like Australia waged a war against emus and lost. Like, what the fuck is with these
Emus break
animals?
quick. my emu, both the mother and the father look after the eggs, and emus aren't little, and well, not full grown ones, and they large. They can lay up to 3 eggs in a clutch, and most of them survive because there's very few predators that will take them on. So emus can get to plague proportions quite quickly if you're not careful.
Wow.
With the kingfisher, as in the kookaburra, the kookaburra is listed as of least importance when talking about conservation of birds because there's so many of the fuckers and they're basically endemic.
Wow. That's like there was one time in Georgia, there was a state trooper just pulled off and started shooting off the highway. And I was like, okay, that's weird. And I later found out there was this weird rat possum looking thing that had basically taken over the area. There were these disgusting tree. I don't even know what the scientific name was, but they basically invaded Georgia and they were killing them on sight. It was actually pretty gross to witness.
I mean, you can say these things are cute and they're good and everything, but if they get into the wrong areas and they mess up the ecology of the area that they've moved into, they become a problem and they become a pest. And at that point, you do have to try and do something about their numbers if there's no natural predators that will do it. And the downside of it in a lot of areas where the kookaburras and they've moved into, their only predator is going to be feral cats. And we don't want the feral cats eating them and breeding up because the feral cats are an even bigger problem. So you don't want that food source for the feral cats.
And here in Tennessee, we ran into the same problem about 10 years ago because where I live, we're part of a national park that is both deciduous and coniferous forest because we're in the mountains. And in the coniferous forest, it was mostly Fraser firs. And there was an invasive pest, the balsam woolly adelgid, that invaded that space. It had no natural predators, but the only way we had to combat it was incredibly toxic chemicals, things that would have destroyed the rest of the ecology in the area. And it became like a 15-year struggle to control the population because there was no good answer.
Is it a bug or what?
Yeah, it's essentially like a cross between an aphid and a beetle.
Okay.
It has a proboscis that burrows into the tree and kills the tree from the inside to pull the sap out. But it's sort of the same thing that Jen's talking about, where it's like even the answer is so detrimental to the rest of the ecology that it's not really an answer.
Well, we had the same problem here with rabbits because the Australian solution to dealing with rabbits was to give them myxomatosis, which is great. It kills rabbits, except it can also kill prey. So we were getting native eagles dying because they were catching the rabbits and eating and dingoes dying and things like that, and it was just not good. So yeah, throwing diseases at an animal to solve a problem like this isn't good because you don't know where the ultimate outcome of those diseases are going to end up.
Right.
Purple, I sent you 4 images.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
They're on the chat thing.
Well, Africa have a yearly cull of elephants. Apparently, they breed like mad elephants, and they're devastating to the areas, especially when they get involved with yeah, exactly. But apparently, people saying, "Oh, they're endangered." They're not. Apparently, there is thousands and thousands of them, and they're big animals, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Jen,
but here in the UK, we don't really. Sorry, Jen.
I was just going to ask Jen.
Go on.
Rabbits were brought into Australia, right?
Yes, yeah, they're not native. They were brought in. So were foxes.
Any placental mammal is not native to Australia. So your cats, your dogs,
with the exception of the dingo. Even though it was originally brought, but even though it was originally brought over from Indonesia, by the people who came over at that time, 30,000 years worth of dingoes in Australia basically makes it a native.
Okay, but what I mean is like what has always been in Australia, like things that have not been introduced to Australia, things that have evolved slowly.
Yeah, but everything's been introduced somewhere at some point.
I'm just saying
something's native by how long it's been there.
Yep.
I'm just saying. Usually, okay. I'm really high, so it's hard to like say this properly. But most of the ecology in Australia is non-placental mammals. Marsupials. You even have monotremes, which lay eggs. So, like, Australia took a different evolutionary path from everywhere else in the world. So, like, when you talk about pests, like, things like rabbits are not native to Australia. Things like dogs, cats, things like, what else?
Well, they're the only ones that have got foxes as well, because foxes were introduced for hunting. That's the whole reason why rabbits were introduced as well, so that the pompous poms could hunt them.
Okay, Jenny. So what are we looking at here? What's this one?
This is one of the 2 really deadly birds. This one is it's called a shoebill stork. I think it's an African bird. But
I wasn't aware they're running around that size anymore.
Yeah, they're that big, and the next picture of it shows you just how nasty that bill is.
Do you want a fun fact about shoebill storks?
Yeah, that's aggressive.
I've seen that.
I've seen that picture.
Thank you. I've been having nightmares about this. Thank you.
Would you like a fun fact about shoebill storks? So what they'll do is when there's a forest fire, they will wait on the very edge of the forest fire, swoop to the very edge where animals are running and fleeing out of the forest fire and eat the animals.
Well, that's smart.
That's the Australians will take it a step
it shows some level of intelligence that it knows when there's fire, there's food, right?
If they let them run through the fire long enough, it's also partly cooked, which is always
I mean, sometimes they'll scavenge. Sometimes they'll scavenge after a forest fire to see if there's any like eatable meat. But like Usually there isn't. But like that's my fun fact of the day. I have tons of fun facts about
In the
animals, I'm
Australian
sorry.
forest fires, they showed hawks would actually pick up burning branches and drop them in grassy areas to chase the rodents out of grassy areas.
Yep.
The next two pictures I got are of the cassowary, which I believe is the Australian bird.
Yep.
They're
We've already
very-
talked about Cassowary.
The Joker of Australia, yes. We're
They're
familiar.
very beautiful, but they're also apparently very deadly. They love to attack.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a secretary bird?
I know I've heard the name.
I can look up a picture. So what they do is they stomp their prey to death.
Yep.
They're like a little bit shorter than humans, so they're not really a threat to us. But they do have some pretty sharp talons, and they do kick pretty hard. But they're pretty cool.
I just
Yeah,
love
they're
that a
called
man is
secretary
fighting
birds
one with a
because they look like they're
riot shield.
As you can see in that previous picture, what they like to do is jump up and rip your guts out.
And bow people.
I've actually done that move in a Slayer pit before.
Bear in mind, kangaroos will
running
do that
kid.
if you get in the way of a big male. If you encroach in their territory, kangaroos will attack humans. They won't eat you, but they'll disembowel you.
Oh, that's a good consolation. That's a
Yeah,
I'm
they should not
gonna-
get eaten. You
I'm
get to lie in the
sharing
ground
the
and die from blood loss. You got to. It's almost like kamikaze by kangaroo.
Yo,
Like-
I'm showing a thing.
Legit. They really do.
Well, here's a question. Here's a question I want an answer to. I want to know why Noah allowed these on his super yacht.
He only brought the babies in. So
Two
when the humans
of
came
every
in, they didn't
animal.
realise how
Why were
bad
they
it was gonna
allowed
get.
on the super yacht?
What is that bird?
And was it considered a clean
Ugh.
animal? Because based on one of the
Oh,
two
fair enough.
tellings of the Noah story, there might have been 7 pairs.
Oh, is that the secretary bird?
Yeah, so this is a secretary bird.
Yeah.
So you see its really fucking long legs. It's like it's walking on stilts, right? And it just like it stomps around and it looks like it's typing on a typewriter. That's why it's called a secretary bird.
Those are birds. Those tail feathers were highly coveted in women's fashion in the turn of the
Yeah.
century, and they were almost made extinct. Because
Also
people
the
wanted those
crest feathers.
two feathers. Yeah, 2 feathers.
Also the crest feathers make nice jewelry. But yeah, no, it's a cool little bird. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because there's no point to having it up. So yeah, I know a lot. I know practically one thing about every animal.
Oh, we got to test that now.
Yeah, someone's already done this, but like I'm ready for round 2. I think this was tested on one of Mikey's shows. No,
Hey, so
no,
what do
it's
you know
just on
about-
my show.
What do you know about red racer snakes?
Red racer snakes. Let me look up a picture just to make sure I'm thinking of the same
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Oh yeah, anybody can Google it.
Ooh.
Yeah, text right next to the picture.
No, I can share my
Yeah, no,
screen
I know.
as to what I'm
Yeah.
looking at. Here, let me share my screen just so
Someone-
you know I'm not
someone
cheating.
God.
Existed. I never thought they existed, and I saw one. They're amazing.
I was
This
just
is what I'm
looking
looking at. This is all I'm looking at.
Yeah, they're awesome.
So they are a venomous snake. I'm trying to think of like interesting facts.
The red.
Partially because of their bright red coloration is to
Right.
signify that they are dangerous to would-be predators such as birds. They
They're,
trying to remember.
I don't
I'm
want
trying to remember what species of snake they are. They're not vipers.
Are they not? They've got a viper head shape.
No, I think they're closer related to rattles. No, I mean because there's the black racer snake,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think the black racer. I mean, the black racer is also venomous. So, but I can't remember if the racer snakes are also related to the rattlesnake. But I don't think they're vipers. They might be. Is that enough information? I got a lot of information out there.
Well,
right?
These guys are they're also fast. They're blindingly fast. Like you'll turn and you'll see them just literally running away from you.
Yeah, so
They are just
in
awesome snakes.
in Florida we have black racers, which suck because we also have gardener snakes.
Mm.
So you never know if it's just a harmless gardener snake or if it's a black racer.
We have rattlers here, so I just assume everything's gonna kill me if I see a snake. If I see a snake coiled up, I walk. That's one thing in the desert. There are snakes everywhere here, and they'll leave you alone as long as you don't go acting like an idiot and stomping on one.
Mhm.
So like a snake fell into my pool. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I think I did. Did I do a good job of explaining some facts? Like, I bet you didn't know why it was red.
Why is it red?
I
They
told
ran
you
out of
because
food?
it's to signify that it's dangerous to other predators.
Oh, I don't think the ones here are venomous, but I could be wrong.
Well, it can be a decoy though. It can be stay away from me, even though I'm not
I
actually.
might not be thinking of the right snake.
The only reason I even bring up red racer is because I used to always hear about them. I never thought they existed, and I saw one with my own 2 eyes, and I'm like, oh, they're real. And it was flying past me. It was awesome.
Am I thinking of the wrong snake? I'm really high. Test me on not snake shit because I like for some reason I just can't think of snakes.
All right. What do you know about city bats?
City bats.
We have tons of bats here in LA County.
I really have no information on city bats except for like my own personal anecdotal observations of them.
Mhm.
They like to hide in rafters and in structures. They also like to sleep in beams and other like support. And they also sleep during the day. Depending on your area, they might be fruit bats, they might be insectivores, or they might be vampire bats. Usually they're insectivores in the cities because there's a lot of insects in the cities.
When I lived in Michigan, I was building bat houses because they cut down on the insects in your yard.
Your basic brown bats and stuff like that.
Yeah, but a
if you
single
have-
bat can eat up to 500 insects a night.
But if you have like a large livestock population, you'll see like vampire bats, right? But like they're like one out of very many bats. Well, I mean, there's like a few. I forget. It's not hemivore. No.
Yeah, hemivore.
Well, hemivore, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's like 3 bats that are hemivores, I think. A lot of insectivores, and then like there's the fruit eating bats.
Yep.
I forget what. they're
Although
called.
actually, most of the fruit bats are not nocturnal. Most of
they're
them are out during the
diurnal.
day.
Yeah, they're
Because
diurnal.
they have actually traded in a lot of the normal bat senses for better color vision so that they can find the ripe fruit.
And an important thing about bats today is right now bats are suffering and dying by the thousands from a thing called white nose fungus.
Yeah.
It's introduced probably by humans into their caves. So if you know of a bat cave, stay the hell out and don't let other people go in it, and call in nature centers so they can get it shut off so that humans can't get in, but the bats can get in and out.
Yeah, because especially the fungus will start growing on their nose while they're hibernating.
It is going to take out the entire bat population if we don't do
so
something.
it will destroy their respiratory system while they're hibernating.
I think one of the reasons they thrive here is because like most of the hills are protected land, so you can't just. So there's certain areas you can't go. So they have massive swatches of land to live on.
Well, insectivore bats, I understood, would rarely locate further than a quarter mile or so, quarter or third of a mile away from a water source.
I see them all. I live. Well, I don't want to give away where I live, but there's a water source nearby. I've said it enough.
Oh, I just realized what.
Apologies, my internet died.
I was wondering where you'd gone to.
For some reason, I was thinking of the cottonmouth when talking about the racer snakes. I'm stupid.
Well, that's because the racer snakes and the cottonmouths are somehow linked. I think a couple of people have been talking about it, but they either are just visually linked or they're part of the same sort of phylogeny somewhere down the line. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah,
I don't think they're directly
the shape of
related.
the
I think they just look the same.
Right. It
might be like conversion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a coral snake and a king snake.
There's actually a specific name for that in evolution where a harmless animal will evolve to look like a dangerous animal for protection. I can't remember the term for it though.
I just love the fact that the most dangerous snake in Florida is the green anaconda. Or like the pythons, like the thousands of pythons.
The ball pythons that got released into the Everglades.
Yeah, there's like thousands of them.
One swallowed a freaking alligator.
Oh yeah, and then the alligator bursted out and died.
Yeah, like they killed each other, but it managed to swallow and try to digest an alligator.
Like a living alligator too.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
And it was descended from a snake that was sold in a pet store.
Oh.
Of course it was. Like Floridians are stupid.
Yep.
And that's why we've literally created Australia 2.0 because not only do we have like alligators, not only do we have the American crocodile, we also have I think we have like the Nile crocodile somewhere.
How many tigers live in Florida?
Depends on which documentary you watch.
Yeah.
How many zoos are there? And
well,
there's a lot of zoos. I mean, in my city alone, there's Carol Baskins who killed her husband.
Like I asked,
I just meant to say allegedly.
How many tigers live in Florida? Based on the very true documentary.
So there's bush gardens. There's bush gardens. There's Big Cat Rescue, I guess. There's
Carol Baskin. Yep.
I'm trying to think of what else. There's like a few. Like I don't know much about other cities. I'm sure there's a few zoos around. There's also the Tampa Zoo, which I think has tigers in it. Maybe just lions. I'm pretty sure tigers.
It has tigers, but not very many.
Yeah. A big problem
so that's like
with
the three places I know.
The introduced snakes in Florida is because they were popular as exotic pets.
Exactly.
So there were shops that were breeding them, and some of these got destroyed in a hurricane, releasing the animals into the wild.
Not even just that. People just bought them, and a year or two in,
they get tired of taking care of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
People do that all over the place.
Yeah, but that's the thing is in a place like the Everglades that's so conducive to their growth and to their proliferation. Like if you buy one in an exotic pet shop in Chicago and you release it, that animal's going to live maybe another 9 months.
They found a 6-foot alligator living in a warehouse in St. Paul. To this day, no one knows how it got there.
That's fair. That's a valid point.
Damn. Probably an expert. I'm gonna head off. I'm gonna need to take a break. My shoulder's killing me. So have a great stream, everyone.
Good night.
Yeah, and I'm probably gonna head off early too.
Every once in a while, around here you hear reports of people pulling like a 20 or 30 pound goldfish out of some pond.
I'm gonna call an exterminator and try to kill all these crickets. I will see you guys later. Purple, thank you for having me on your show.
Yep.
As always. You guys have a good night.
Well, good to have you here.
Good night, Will.
We'll catch you later.
All right. Dog, pleasure as always. Genesis, Jenny, you and I need to get in a fight next week because we had a bunch of people watching. So we need to pick which fight we're gonna have.
Okay.
All right. You too, Jenny. I'll fight with both of you.
Fight me.
Bye.
Yeah, Renee, if the bats seem to be dive bombing you, they're probably just coming after mosquitoes that are swarming around.
Bats are like really good. Like bats have basically D&D blind sight. I don't know if you guys know what blind sight is in Dungeons and Dragons.
No.
So basically what it is you can see without your eyes. Like you like hear shit and you have echolocation.
Yeah. Yeah, the bats are famous for the echolocation.
Like when
So like they can see everything.
Like when I'm working inside of the dashboard of a car, I know what I'm looking at, even though I can't see a damn thing. I would just by the touch with my fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do an awful lot by my tactile senses and my hearing. I'm not nearly as visually oriented as most people are. It scared my fiance because it scared my fiance because I used to do that with the table saw. Because I tended to keep one hand on the table because I could tell if there was a hard spot in the wood because the vibration on the table would change.
There's a headline that's going to come up, and I'm going to interrupt it when it comes so I can read it to you guys. It'll make you as mad as it makes me.
What's the headline, Jenny?
I'll read it when it comes up.
Okay.
It's scrolling across the bottom. Good old
Yo, Anjur, are you gonna be on the hotel lobby? If I have a hotel lobby?
Well, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to keep this fairly short tonight, so because I gotta make sure I get enough sleep for a longer drive tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Well, I've got to take extra man home. It's about an hour and a half each way.
Oof.
That's Sloth Girl's son. I gave him the title Extra Man because his superpower is to be redundant and unnecessary.
God damn it, I love you, Purple. You always come out of nowhere with some of the best shit.
I've stayed up all night, and I'm knackered, and I've got work soon.
Oh.
But it's only Zoom meetings on the computer at home, but I've still got to have my wits about me. More coffee, I guess.
Okay. Well, thanks for dropping in.
Okay, here's.
I added you to the
here's
group,
the headline.
so next week you should get the things.
Quiet.
Okay.
Women in their 20s dressed as elderly women are denied COVID vaccine in Florida.
I don't know whether that's just ridiculous or... Well, no, it's ridiculous.
So 20-something women are dressing up as their grandmas to try and get the shots early.
Yeah. In Florida.
Wow.
Of course.
Well, at least they want to get the shots. That's a good thing.
Well, yeah.
But,
Yeah, it is. I think I'm more aghast at the state of where we're at than anything else.
Yeah.
In what sense?
Like, I'm aghast at the idea that in order to get a vaccine, people are committing identity fraud.
Yeah, it's but they're coming. I think they're doing a fine job. It's just a big fuck fest from the day one. I think they're recovering from Trump's fuck ups pretty damn good.
Yeah, like that's the thing is in terms of accelerating the recovery, I don't think we're doing a bad job. That doesn't stop me from being aghast at where we are.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, well, and people are simultaneously saying that they rushed the vaccine too fast, but they're taking too long to get it out.
Right.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's coming out faster than they expected. But don't forget, it's not 100%. So we're a mass still, you muppets.
Yeah,
right.
You could still spread it.
Like,
there's
all the people who are saying that it's not being like spread out fast enough, like they can just blame Donald Trump for that because like there was no plan for distribution.
Right. We've spent the last month recovering from a year of not being prepared.
Yeah, but everything that's wrong with the country is now Biden's fault.
Of course it is, because Donald Trump can do no wrong. It's like a cult following. Yep. I would really like to see a video done. I might do this myself, actually. A video undergoing the bite model in Donald Trump's fan base.
Ooh,
do
Jen,
it.
You know, I will be putting out a video within the next week or so about my interaction with Pastor Greg Locke's Telegram.
Oh no!
And the way that the people who are subscribed to that and interact with that are dealing with exactly these sort of things. So if you want to have a conversation privately, let's talk, because I'm just starting to work on the script now, but it has a lot to do with what you're talking about there, and I feel like
Telltale didn't go down the whole.
So instead of making a video, I might pop in and like give my own 2 cents in your video, maybe.
Well, I tell you what, like I'm working a ton, but like let's you and me talk.
Sure.
Cool.
Telltale didn't go down the whole bite model, but he did do a thing on our Trump supporters occult.
Yes.
Well, I might have to watch that later. But like I definitely think there could be an argument made for either side. Right? Because there is no thought control. There's like a lot of othering, right? And a lot of you're either in the group or you're against the group, right? So I think that's kind of behavioral control, but I don't think there's any thought control. I'm not entirely sure there's any like emotional control. Certainly, like Donald Trump is an infuriating person, and he fires up his fan base with like hateful bigotry. But like, it's not like he's directly controlling your emotions. It's just like they're inspired to be pissed off.
I disagree with that completely.
Really?
Yeah, you watch some of these rallies and hear his words and watch the expressions on the people's faces. It is clear that there's a huge emotional reaction going on. They are absolutely addicted.
I mean, fine, I'll give it to you. Yeah. And then like, what's the I? Is that
information control
or information? So like, like conservative media is very heavy on information control in general, and I think that's just a flaw of the conservative party.
No, it's by design.
Well,
as the campaign has went on, the funnel of information got narrower and narrower down to, at the last few months of the campaign, the only news source they were considering legitimate was OANN, which is of course the least accurate of everything out there.
Mhm.
And I think it's by design. They want their people to believe their message.
And honestly, I feel like, again, just based on Steve Hassan, just based on the Freedom of Mind Resource Center, because I went back and looked at it to check on the emotional control field. Manipulate and narrow the range of feelings. Some emotions and or needs are deemed as evil, wrong, or selfish. Yeah, they definitely do that. Teach emotion stopping techniques to block feelings of ... anger ... doubt. Yup. Make the person feel that problems are always their own fault in terms of not fighting hard enough even though they committed insurrection. Promote feelings of guilt or unworthiness, such as identity guilt, not living up to your potential, your family is deficient, your past is suspect. Like, I actually think we can make the case, Jen.
Yeah, so I mean, there's definitely an argument for that, but then like I could see, like, I wouldn't agree with it, but I could see the argument against it, right? That Donald Trump is just exuding his free speech, which is like a tactic that his lawyers have used all the time. Is that he's just using his First Amendment right to free speech. It could also be said that he never directly incites violence, even though he kind of does.
And so would it be interesting to talk about how much agency he actually has in the situation versus what people overlay onto him?
Yeah.
When Donald Trump uses the words he uses, that it's completely intentional. He encourages and implies he wants violence to occur or a job to be done, with the same kind of wording, and sentence structure as a mafia don will use.
And Frazzled, I personally agree with you, and I'm sorry I just called you Frazzled because I don't actually know your name or what you go by.
Jenny Morgan.
Jenny. Okay, so I've had Jenny, Auntie Jen, and Genesis all in this stream.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so Jenny, I personally agree with you, but I also see where Genesis is coming from in this and going, he doesn't directly do this. So how do we interpret it? You know what I mean? Like, I see where you're coming from, where it's like, well, he's quite obviously doing this. But I also see it from let's take the counter narrative and still dissect it and say, I'm not sure that he's directly done this.
From a legal standpoint, his speech is in a gray zone of whether it's an incitement. Let's take the Capitol speech, the speech before the Capitol riot, right? He said fight, like, I believe 16 times. And while fight as a figure of speech can mean many things, the fact that the Stop the Steal campaign and the advertisements that he put out before, up until January 5th, like, when you think about it, you know, even if you make the argument that it's just his free speech, he's still, like, there's a lot of suspect shit, you know?
Yeah, like, even if we take the most generous reading of what he said, you can still make the argument.
But, you know, like, I'm not shocked that the second impeachment trial failed. It's because the Republicans aren't going to sacrifice their golden goose just because it's right.
I think they misread the room. If they would have looked at the poll numbers and stuff about how the overall American public wanted to see Trump go down with this impeachment, they would have said, if we get this guy out of here, the public is going to like us more than if we don't.
Yeah.
And it's going to come back to haunt them in 22.
I think they had the opportunity to restore a level of respect to the Republican Party, and they blew it.
The party, yeah.
I find our system to be so broken.
Yeah.
You know, like, of course, like, no impeachment trial is ever going to get by because it's a 50-50 split. And, like, you're never going to convince, like, 17 people to out their own.
Well, and
Right.
people need to realize the distinction. He was impeached. That was final. The Senate was just supposed to decide the punishment.
Right. The impeachment and conviction are separate.
Do you like political writing? I'd like to recommend an author who will discuss it discusses in great detail not only Donald Trump, but our entire system of taxation and law authoring, and why everything is set up to work against you and me. His name is David K. Johnson. That's K-S-C-A-Y Johnson. He's been around a long time, and he's written on our healthcare system, taxation, representation. Trump, he has been after Trump for 50 years. Check him out.
Yep, and to piggyback on that, check out Louis Quicquant, who is an economist who's written about how, like, our economics and our politics are tied, and how everything we're experiencing now, both on a personal level but also on a political level, are sort of by design. It's a series of the interplay of economics and of institutional power, and how we find ourselves in a catch-22 now because people started doing this 40 to 50 years ago. Like, people started doing this prior to the Nixon administration, and we're just now seeing the actual effects of it.
Could you spell the name for me?
Loic, and I'm spelling it in the American phonetic, so you're gonna have to look at it, but it's Loic Wocant. Oh gosh, hold on a second, because I'm gonna have to transliterate it because he's not from America. Loic Wocant. One second. Yep. So Loicwacquant.
Okay.
He's a sociologist, but he deals a lot with economics and public policy, and he's written several books from the late 90s to the modern day.
The vibe I'm getting you from it is that if I read that and you read David K., that we might be getting back together and saying, oh yeah, these guys are just the same.
Yeah, no, a lot of their stuff is very similar. Like, it's a lot about the interplay. And, like, he's kind of my pet project, but I deal a lot with the strife of the underprivileged people in America, and he's written a lot about that on a sociological, economic, and political level. But, like, I think we could have a really robust conversation about that.
Interesting. I'll see if I can find it on audiobooks.
Yeah. He wrote a book in, like, 2006. That would be the first one I direct you to. Give me a second. Okay, hold on. Urban Outcasts would be a good one, and Prisons of Poverty, which deals a little bit with the prison, like the corporate prison complex, and, like, the commercialization of imprisoning people. But he writes generally books that are idea specific but have a broader range. But he's also written, like, just straight sociology books. He's a really interesting guy to read.
Okay, I will try to remember the name.
Yeah, of course. Copy paste it into a notepad. Like, most of his books are like 300 to 400 pages long. So
I'm down to one device, and
oh, darling. Okay.
if I leave, I disappear.
Well, just tweet at me, and, like, we'll figure it out.
Okay. Yay, Perseverance.
Right?
They're doing the story on Perseverance right now.
Hell yeah.
Do you know how big that thing is?
I wasn't quite aware of it, but yeah, on the shows they were saying it was like the size of a compact car.
Oh no, it's bigger than that. The Discovery or the Curiosity was the size of like a U-Boat. This thing is like the size of a Ford 350 double cab.
Oh, okay.
Holy crap.
It's freaking huge. Holy cow.
Yeah, mostly we're talking about the helicopter.
Yeah, that's going to be neat. I hope that works. I mean, it's so exciting to be in a situation where we're doing something nobody even thought of when I was a kid. You know, to not only go to Mars, but let's bring a helicopter. You know, this thing's got like what 29 cameras or something on it, and they're all high def.
Okay, Doorknob Head's saying it was like around a ton on landing.
No, that probably sounds about right.
You know, yeah, so that's an awfully big payload for them to put up there. The helicopter was 4 pounds.
And I'm also so proud of JPL. That JPL, puts so many women up on the front lines of this research and development and management of the projects and missions. It's just really good to see. So many women on the highest level of STEM there is.
Yeah, and if you really know the history of the space program, you got to wonder where that myth ever came from that girls are bad at math.
No shit.
Yeah, really. Well, the public was never told.
Yeah.
Well, and when computation was devalued, it was okay to give it to women.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of it happened during World War II. That they were the code breakers because all the able-bodied men were off fighting the war.
Right. They were the unseen Rosie the Riveters, essentially.
And secretive. I just saw this documentary on a woman who was considered to be the preeminent code breaker in the United States, who's only been known now for a few years because her identity and existence have been secret all this time.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's been true of a lot of ones in Britain, too, that they didn't find out who they were until 50 years after the war ended.
It's jaw-dropping what this woman did. I mean, she broke down the Nazis that were in South America before they even knew it was happening. And it's like, holy fuck. and I'm blanking on her name. I wrote it down and everything.
Well, and ultimately, that's what won the war, that we could read the enemy codes better than they could read ours.
Mm-hmm.
And her husband was a code breaker, too. And he got more credit for her work than she got for her own work. Because that's just how it happened.
Yeah.
And what's her name? Hold on. I gotta look up her name, which is a travesty.
Well, there's also a lot coming out now that Einstein probably would not have published a lot of his theories without his wife, that she co-authored a lot of his work.
And Xinsheng Wu, the first generation American Chinese descendant physicist, like her whole body of work being adopted by other people who won the freaking Nobel Prize, and them being like, oh yeah, she was here too, and she did so much of the computation and so much of like the amalgamation of data and so much of the independent like ideation of what it was they were working on for the Manhattan Project. And it's like, oh yeah, no, like she was here.
Since the internet started, my personal knowledge or awareness is a good word too, of these incredible super brains that have been out there doing the things that we take for granted whether it's in the secrecy of war or the secrecy of corporate boardrooms. It's just astonishing how many people there are who really deserve a bunch of credit that we've never heard about.
Yeah.
You know, black, white, male, female, you know, lots of them, not just women, or not just minorities, but everybody. There are just so many hidden people. It's insane.
Well, yeah, because the behind-the-scenes efforts really weren't appreciated for the longest time.
Well, and there was a proprietary ownership of it. There was, yeah, you did this, like you, the person, did this, but I own your work. Like you don't have the ability to say what it is that you did, because we were working on it as a team, and you might have done 70% of the work, but I own your work. Like that's a long-standing tradition in STEM.
Yeah, like the woman who did most of the work behind the discovering the double helix of DNA. Two guys got the credit for it.
One of my all-time favorite shows was the series Connections. And what that is all about is that any of the things, you know, we give credit to these great inventors. And in almost every case, almost all of these inventions was just somebody making a little tweak on something that already existed, or taking two things from unrelated fields and welding them together. You know, that the whole thing of a great inventor coming up with these revolutionary ideas is almost always a myth.
Right.
They're almost always, you know, building on something that had already been developing for 100 years.
Yeah, it turns out Thomas Edison had a guy on his own staff who was responsible for more of what Edison was credited for than anything else. And I forget his name too.
Hey, Diana.
That was a recent discovery of mine.
Well, the only thing that Edison actually invented is what we would call the industrial workshop.
Yeah.
Edison employed like 1,000 people that basically he'd come up with an idea and he'd say, make this work so I can sell it, and give it to somebody else. You know, so all he was doing was coming up with vague concepts. He never worked out the details of how anything worked.
Yeah, you and I have been getting fucked for centuries.
All right, kids. Where I'm at, it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. I have got to jump off of here.
Okay.
But
yep.
I didn't even expect to be here, and I am super happy that I did, because this has been such an interesting conversation.
Well, before you go, you got anything you want to plug?
Oh God. Okay. Find me on Twitter at Ragabashd. I put it right there. It's difficult to spell, so I'll take a little bit of a second. So if people are looking at Twitter, it's this piece, right? Ragabashd. So that's my Twitter. I'm on YouTube as Ragabash Dabbler, all one word, but it's this right here. I made it tough to spell because I want you to work to find it. I do have a Patreon. If you watch my shit, or if you get on Twitter, you'll find it. And I talk about things including counter apologetics for formerly religious people, current events, and political ideology. It's kind of a mixed bag. You never know what you're going to get when I put a video out, but I always work really hard on it. And Purple's a great big sweetheart, and you know, I love them to death. And Genesis invited me in tonight, and I love them to death. And I just met Jen, and I sort of love her to death. So like all the people here, I'm actually kind of enamored with. But yeah, Ragabash Dabbler or Ragabashd on pretty much any platform.
I just dropped all your links in the side chat there. So
I've been on YouTube panels and stuff for a long time. My position is that I'm the completely uncredentialed idiot.
I feel much the same way. I'm always talking to people who are way smarter than I am, and they have the patience to deal with me.
Yes, but you admit it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and
Yeah. I will own that. I will
Well, and
own that
even
everybody
if
on
we
the room
have
is smarter than me.
even if we have brilliant peoples with PhDs in their field, these conversations don't work without somebody asking them questions.
Yeah, except it. I. Oh, what? I don't admit it. I found out that I can't deny it. That's so.
But yeah, also, and I'm sure Genesis will put this forward later, but there is, if you are interested in random, totally not related content, a little YouTube channel called Nat1 Heroes. And it's a few of my friends that are playing D&D together, and I hate Let's Play content, and I hate D&D content on the internet, and I still love the channel. They just put out their very first episode, so youtube.com, and then search for Nat1 Heroes, because I'm not sure if they've actually got a URL yet, but Nat1 or Natural One Heroes.
Well, unless they have 100 subscribers, they can't get the custom URL yet.
They have more subscribers than I do, and I've been at this for almost a year. They're freaking crushing it. But no, go check them out. They're really good. I'll let Jen talk about it later. But I've got to jump off of here. You guys have been great. Purple and Jen, I love you to both. And then also other Jen that I just met. You seem super cool. And you guys have a great night.
Nice to meet you.
Nice.
Peace out.
Yeah. I think I probably should wrap this up here so I can get enough sleep tonight.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
So, okay, either of you got anything to plug?
I mean, Rags already did the Nat1 Heroes plug, but you can find me on my own channel at Genesis Undead on YouTube, or you can find me on Twitter at Genesis Undead. If you want to contact me, that's the best way to do it, because if you find my Discord, I will not talk to you. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nat1 Heroes.
I got movie night tomorrow night, 10:30 Eastern. I think it's still going on. And oh, that's right. Prior to that, I'll be on the Silly Shills at 5:30 Eastern. And well, as I said on the last panel I was on Sunday, I'll be busy breaking in a new vibrator. So just leave me alone.
Okay. Yeah, well, Jen and I should both be on the Shills tomorrow night. It's at 7 Central Time.
Oh, it is 7 Central.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah, I'll just be doing my chats again next week. Wednesday at noon, Thursdays at midnight here. So,
they're Burp.
What's that?
Good show tonight.
Yep, thanks. So, let me just grab a link here and then we will say goodbye. Where am I? Yep. Up.
All right, I'm out of here. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Goodbye, Chad. You have a
I thought I had a link
all
for
of you.
tomorrow's Shills show, but I don't. I guess they haven't set it up yet. So, okay. Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming. Yeah, Doorknob Head, you should pop in again.